What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of TPS Talk. I'm Daniel, and as you can see, I'm joined by Jason, Josh, and Kayla. Guys, welcome back. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Dan.
Now, what is it we're doing tonight? This is your topic. What is our main topic for this evening?
We are talking about horror films of the 2000s.
And you're talking the decade 2000 to 2009, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Awesome. So before we get started, I just want to big shout out. We got a small cult following, which is pretty fucking cool. Very small. I mean, it's smaller than the Manson family, but still a cult following nonetheless. But we're doing really good, and right now you can find us on certain podcast platforms such as Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts, Anchor, amongst others. I think Breaker's one of them. Podcast Nation. We're on a bunch of these things. So
all of your favorite podcasts.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
check them out. Share. That's how you help us out more than anything else, right there. I mean, I would.
Join the cult.
Yeah. Drink the Kool-Aid. Drink up. So, anyway, well, thank you guys very much for that and everything. So, guys, let's just get into it. As you know, we always like to throw out some questions to the horror community at large, and we got a few nibbles. So let's go through it. First up, our good friend here at TPS, Andrew Beaver, he asked us over on Facebook. I'm going to literally read it how he wrote it, because this is something like good grammar. Why was Japanese remake a trend? That's not right, is it? It should be like, why was it such a trend, or something like that, right? Or is that...
Why were the Japanese remakes a trend?
Why more words if few were good?
So, I'll start over with you, in your opinion. Cause, I mean, this is really kind of, I guess, I mean, I don't know if this is like everyone should chime in on, but go ahead. What, in your opinion, what
I think that Japanese horror was a trend because, at that time, they were making some really scary films. And most Americans would not watch those films because most Americans are not going to read subtitles. Or, they can't read or whatever. But I think that's one of the reasons why they wanted to make them like image of America. I think that's what it was.
Okay. Josh, anything to add?
I'm gonna take a random stab, and I'm probably wrong, but it's just randomly came to mind. Maybe it's because of the popularity of the VHS around the time and it being cheap and affordable-ish.
People want trade tapes and everything.
Yeah, I just remember at that time we started doing that more in my house, where we had a VHS player, which was not new. Like, we ended up getting a rewinder and everything. So I don't know if it had to do with that or not, but like I think of the Ring and I'm like, oh, VHSs, maybe that's why. And it's just like, whatever, maybe it's the VHS craze right now that helps it come over, and that was the way that we could consume Japanese media. Yeah. Like, you could order a VHS. I don't think Laserdiscs were super popular for everyone.
They were at that point. They were already pretty much faded.
They were faded,
and they were something that was supposed to take over.
Yeah.
And I had a player, and the thing was, the players were not very durable.
Yeah.
They tore up pretty easily, and they were really expensive. And the discs for them were like.
I was going to say, this guy's like, we had one, I was just like, man, fancy pants over here.
Well, I think, okay, why we have my dad...
Laying down like $700 for like...
Well, my dad, he... Well, see, wait a minute. I mean, my dad, he actually won it.
Yeah.
So, and I only had 4 movies. I had the Star Wars trilogy that I had that I had Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Humble brag.
Well, see, and that right there is interesting because... The original Star Wars movies, the only way you can watch them, the original ones is through VHS and Laserdisc.
Where Han shot the motherfucker first. His freaking said, "Fuck you, buddy!" Bam.
But see, now those covers, now they make nice do posters and stuff to hang on your wall because they were nice artwork because they were big and.
Well, they put a lot of work into it. That's the thing too. There's a documentary I watched where they're talking about how. Movies that really don't deserve special releases at all would get these Laserdisc releases that are tons of features. It's really? Like
that movie? Really?
Kale, what about you? Any thoughts about why the Japanese remake trend in America was so big, especially in the early 2000s?
I think they did it because there's a good transition for Americans, because a lot of Americans didn't watch, Japanese scary movies. So they're like, hey, we want to be part of the scary stuff. Let's just put some American.
Almost like a gateway to internet.
Yeah,
that's something there because I'm the same way. I didn't watch international films back then, so whenever I found about The Ring, they're like, well, that's actually a remake. I'm like, what? No.
Yeah, it made me want to
Check out the original.
You know what's the awkward kid in the closet right now is that we all are forgetting that the internet was taking off in the 2000s.
Yeah, and that probably
that's
could have been
bridging those gaps
I know,
from Japan.
absolutely.
And before that, there wasn't really contact.
Well, see,
so.
and I'm gonna go more
As much
cynical.
contact, I guess.
I guess what I think, my theory is more of a cynical one. It was money. I think honestly, Gore Verbesky, I can't pronounce that dude's name. The guy who did Pirates. He's the one that directed The Ring.
Yeah, I know
That guy. I think honestly, he probably had a passion for this. He saw Ring Goons like, oh yeah. But then America's just like, well, wait a minute, wait. We just made how much money on The Ring? And that's an Asian remake? What's the other one? The Jew one? Oh, that's just weird to say. Grudge. Call it The Grudge. Do another one. But that made money too? Shit. Okay. What else we got? One missed call. Shutter. Just keep going down the list. I don't give a shit. Let's just go. And then I think that's honestly, for me personally.
But wasn't One Missed Call a remake of an old American movie?
No, that was
no, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of When a Stranger Calls. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mixing up. That's my fault completely.
It's alright. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, and we'll talk more about this when we get to the actual 2000s, but I think remakes are kind of the same thing. I think it wasn't really a big takeoff until like Texas Chainsaw Massacre made bank, and they're like, oh shit, that's what the people want. They want remakes of classics. Churn them out, and then
if we go down this ladder, we're gonna realize that Hollywood's only been making remakes for the last 100 years.
That's true. That's true.
We could chase that rabbit all day long. People do want the remakes.
Yeah.
And they want good ones. The ones that aren't good fail.
Yeah.
So I think.
But that doesn't stop Hollywood from making them, though.
The Grudge and The Ring are both strong movies for me.
And some of the bad ones even make like a lot of money.
That's true.
So I mean, like Halloween. Well, I don't want to say it's a bad one, but
The Rob Zombie one?
yeah, it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I mean, I don't like how he gave him like a backstory because. Like he's supposed to be. Well, no, okay, no. But no, and like John Carpenter said the same thing. He's supposed to be kind of a mystery, He's not supposed to have.
So you're gonna take me down the road of Halloween 2018. I don't know what that road.
No. I don't need that. You know what? I don't need to open up.
I want to say this,
but I'm just saying.
I want to do another Halloween reboot. I want even more backstory. I want a ridiculous amount of backstory. I want him to have brothers and sisters and cousins and everything else. And
so you can kill all of them?
every one of them. It's a big bloodbath. I don't want him to actually do a bloodbath. I don't want him to start a bloodbath and then stop midway through and just go stalk a babysitter in a closet for some reason. Why the fuck did he do that? No, seriously, that's ridiculous. So he starts off, and don't get me wrong, it's cool as hell. It's trick or treat night. Everybody's out there tricking, and there's Michael Myers like, awesome, first house, bam, bam, bam.
You didn't think that?
Bam, bam. And I'm like, yes. Let's do 30 minutes of just him going up and down the street, just wiping people out. And then he just decides like, no, I'm gonna go to this one girl's house and just hang out. She's babysitting. I'm gonna hang out in the closet. And he literally goes to the closet and just sits there as little Julian, who's like one of the funniest characters in that movie, by the way, and his babysitter are interacting. And the whole time, Myers is sitting there. I'm thinking, like, why did they never shut that closet door? Was he just gonna sit there the whole time? Was he eventually gonna be like, oh shit, I'm gonna close the door over there. My foot's right here. I had the foot here to try to stop the door. It's gonna be so cool. Shit. Okay, I guess I'll go out there. Fuck that movie.
Here's the biggest problem with that movie.
Oh god. Go for it.
Michael Myers is...
I should try to derail this. I'm like, we're getting off topic, but you know what? I hate that movie so much.
We're gonna keep going.
We're just gonna keep going. Let's just do it. Let's go.
The moment where I was like, all right, this movie is actually stupid and does not understand at all who Michael Myers is. When he walks into the room and doesn't kill that baby.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck you. He's never once shown any
unstoppable evil, right?
Any bit of guilt or...
Carpenter's own words was he
so
was
stupid.
Like a shark with no conscience. He's just pure moving evil. In fact, the fact that he killed a kid early on, a little ballet kid in the highway when his dad was hunting and shit, and the bus thing. Yeah, that kid. No problem there. It's like he shouldn't have a conscience. So obviously, he killed a dog in part one. But he killed a dog in part one. So
but like part two, you remember we get whenever he goes in, takes that knife.
No, doesn't matter. Part two doesn't exist.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
New timeline. It's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah,
they don't understand the character.
And I love Danny McBride, and I love that director. But guess what? You guys really.
Dude, you know what happened? Hollywood interaction happened because they ruined Terminator Genesis as well.
Genesis, I like Genesis.
Not Genesis, I'm
Dark
sorry.
Fate.
Dark Fate.
Okay.
That's how much it's gone out of my mind. They ruined.
I don't even remember. I like Genesis.
There is a movie in Dark Fate that was made that was going to be good, or that was supposed to be made, and then it got twisted.
You mean the one that James Cameron actually stood behind? And
the one that, when James Cameron was behind it, was going to be a good movie. I think the more he distanced himself was the more the studio started interacting and fucking it up.
I gotta rein this in. I feel like this is why we have 3-hour podcast right here. I'm reining it in. All right, so John Johnson 2002. I love that name from Instagram. John Johnson wants to know what is our favorite subgenres of horror. Josh, I'll start with you this time. What's your favorite subgenre of horror? The guy who doesn't believe in genres or anything.
Dark comedies.
Dark comedy?
For sure, yeah, dark comedy.
Got it.
Easily.
I know this one, so go ahead.
Dark comedies.
There it is.
Nice.
To be this standard fucking
Slasher.
it is. I'm wearing a shirt that says slasher, actually. It's slasher.
Support the
I
slasher.
kind of like the sci-fi horror, like the sci-fi horror.
Okay.
But slashers are good. You get dark comedy, but just to be different here, sci-fi horror is good too. So.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's not really. I guess the better question would be like, which subgenre do you not like, actually?
Yeah,
Because I feel like that's a tougher one for me, because I don't really think of anything I don't. You're not a big creature feature guy or animal attack guy, are you? Except for Sharknado, but that goes to that dark comedy a little bit.
Okay,
That's
Sharknado
like
is a
natural
perfect
disaster.
storm. Perfect storm of a movie.
Yeah.
No, but I like some creature feature. It just it really depends.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to
I
be.
think
A movie that I absolutely loved was like Crawl. I loved Crawl. I thought Crawl was so good. I
Okay,
loved Crawl.
realistic natural monster movies I don't give a shit about.
Mm.
It's got to be at least supernatural.
Some kind of
Supernatural
gimmick to
or
it.
real slasher, but like these when alligators attack
Gimmicky.
or like a shark. Like I love Jaws. The original Jaws is perfect.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't need to see 60 Feet Under or whatever. All these
No, I don't
these
like
new
I totally
shark
agree.
movies don't need them. I need some sort of twist, like Sharknado.
Sharknado is a
Shark.
A twister.
Sharktopus versus Super Gator or something like that.
If a real Hollywood movie was made where it was an octopus versus like a giant
Like
gator,
not
the
the
whole
Sci-Fi
time,
Channel,
the
yeah.
whole time that
That's
was
like a Godzilla
good
versus like a
effects.
moth
Yeah.
or whatever. Those like the old. Yeah,
But they
those
keep
were-
putting these stupid humans in them.
You
You
know,
spend all your
agree.
money on CGI.
No,
don't
I
care.
agree. Yeah,
There has
because
been actors in them too.
yeah, well, it's also this fact that it's like I want to see the clash. I don't care about storyline. I don't need to have another. This guy and girl really like each other.
See, the
and
fight-
for this big monster,
the fight.
event.
I would rather see it with overdub, like the old.
The old school,
ones.
yeah.
I love those.
What was that like wrestling movie? Was it like Monster Deathmatch or whatever it was? You want to talk about like the death match with like the monsters or like Kevin Nash was in it?
Colossus?
Monster Brawl.
Monster Brawl. That's what it was. Anybody hated that? I actually thought that is pretty cool.
It was
I like
literally like you were watching pro wrestling.
Yeah.
But it was like the 2-hour movie.
Like the Wolf.
But it was just literally like an 8-man tournament, and that's what it was. Like the whole thing was just like up. I mean, it had. I liked it. But I'm a wrestling fan and a horror fan, so I mean, I fell into it. But
Yeah, no, I liked it. I thought it was funny. I
well,
liked it.
that's a good little segue. So let's get down to our own little wrestling match here. I'm talking about the Horror Villain Battle Royale. And here we are. We got reigning champion Pinhead, which I do feel dirty about because you showed up late, you weren't here, and we ousted Uber Jason, and we did. It really was. It was what it was.
You know what we needed to do? And I'm not going to go backwards, but I want to make sure that the dates don't line up that Pinhead was already dead by the time Jason X comes around.
Jason, how is the bloodline and
It
Jason
was okay.
X?
Let's just say
We need to
It was
check
here.
our years.
So
It was one of those matches that was close, but not really. It was one of those.
Because Pinhead was
It was one of those.
conclusive,
Mhm.
but if you remember Jason X was not. You see him a shooting star.
Oh, you're right. No, he survives. Jason X lives.
I do
mean,
believe, if I'm correct, and I may be wrong.
I want to see Jason X.
I think Bloodline does take place after Jason X at the time. I think
I
it
have no
does.
idea.
I believe it
Yes, I'll be honest with
I
you.
believe it does, but I'm not 100%.
Well, while Josh is fact checking for us over there, let's go ahead. We'll reveal who we got in this month's Battle Royal. Jason, you threw in Ghostface. Now, when I asked him which version
Oh,
of
yeah.
Ghostface, because you got Billy Loomis, Marker, Roman something, and fucking Girl from Part 4,
Yeah.
or the MTV.
Or the guy from Part 4, there was a guy at a girl.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Roy.
I don't remember their names,
Yeah, I
but
remember
it was
his actor's
that.
name. But anyways,
And Scream 5's coming out in 2020.
No, there really
Is
needs
2021? Is that
next year, yeah.
2022, baby?
Oh, is it? Okay, I have no idea. Yeah.
Sometime, okay. Check the dates.
But when I asked him, which version, he just said he wants Ghostface just
In general.
in general. So we're just going to be going with Ghostface. Josh asked him who he wanted, and he went with Leslie Vernon from Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie
I
Vernon.
forgot I did that.
Wait, real quick, I'm sorry. Back to you. Why did you pick Ghostface? I forgot we always ask, why did you enter certain people in there? Go ahead, throw us your arguments for Ghostface.
Well, I picked Ghostface because, Ghostface, I think, is one of these killers that he always has this motive, right, for doing what he's doing. I guess Jason and Freddy, they have certain motives, but usually your Ghostface is usually after a certain person or
More
certain
revenge
people.
driven.
Yeah, they have a cause in mind that they're wanting to fulfill. So that's what I read.
All right. So. And Josh, why'd you pick Leslie Vernon?
Because he's so awesome, and I just love it. I really, really liked Behind the Mask.
There was supposed to be a part 2 of that.
There was supposed to be, and it's a tragedy that it never got made. Those actors in it are unreal. They really,
I like that.
They brought some performances that were just straight up stupid, stupidly good. They were just really, really good actors that need more roles.
No.
So go watch Behind the Mask with Leslie Vernon. The what is it called? Whatever this.
Behind the Mask with Leslie Vernon.
Behind the Mask with Leslie Vernon. Yeah, really, really good. He's so sweet and genuine. I just love his character the whole time. Even though he's a murdering psychopath, it's
you're on his side.
There's
you are
something
rooting
sweet
for
about
him the
him.
whole time.
I just love him.
He's kind of like one of these kids that you feel that's been picked on, so you kind of root for him to take his revenge.
I don't think it's so much that. I think it's honestly he just has this Ryan Reynolds type charisma to him. He is a good character. Have you seen Behind the Mask? Caleb, I recommend it. I highly recommend Behind the Mask.
Definitely watching that.
And then finally, we got Deborah Logan from The Taking of Deborah Logan. And why'd you choose her?
Because nothing's scarier than a psychopathic granny.
I'll agree. I'll agree.
I mean, the granny for Jason and all that shit. She was so fucking scary.
Well, it's funny. I haven't seen it. So when you picked the driver from the other movie, I'm blanking on the name already. I actually went out and watched it because I was like, I want to know. And I didn't get a chance to see this one, but when she showed me the screenshot, it's the screen. I don't know if you guys seen The Taking of Deborah Logan or not. But the screenshot of her, where she unhinged her jaw.
She was swallowing this child.
I remember seeing that picture and it freaked me out a long time ago. And I'm like, oh, that's from that movie shit. So I've been wanting to see it. I just have yet to have a chance to get around to seeing it.
You're afraid of little old ladies now.
But she was possessed by a murderer.
Well, I did do my research and I read the plot synopsis, so I know.
It's like everybody's sweet grandma that you go over and see, and it turns out she's really this killer,
Yeah, and it starts out it's about her slowly losing her mind to Alzheimer's. So I'm like, oh man, this is depressing.
Yeah.
And then it just gets so fucked up.
So Josh,
all right,
what is
fact checked. Real quick. You guys can all go fuck yourselves. Because Jason X lives 2455 and Pinhead died in 2127.
Oh, and there it is. So the facts don't lie.
We won't go back
We're
on
going
it.
back. We're going to go back.
But let's all just know that Jason X is still the true victor in everyone's heart and soul.
What is the setting of this battle royal?
The battle royale will be set in Copperville.
Copperville, the fictional town from Unspeakable Acts. I like it. You're really going for that hometown pop right there. So we got Ghostface, Leslie Vernon, Deborah Logan, and Pinhead in a battle royal. So we're going to start with you. Who's going to be eliminated first from this battle royal? Who are we going to vote off first?
He mentioned the mask guy, right?
Leslie Vernon?
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like he would go first.
You're going to go Leslie Vernon first. All right. That's one vote against Leslie Vernon. Any reason, or are you just going to leave it at that, or?
I'll leave it at that.
All right. I'm going to go Ghostface. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the character of Ghostface. I love the franchise. He's the clumsiest motherfucker out there, and typically it's a kid. It's always a kid. It's a 16-year-old kid who's like, I'm going to get revenge. I'm like, dude, if you don't have to jump on me, I'm going to punch you in the fucking throat and you're going down. That's all there is to it. Now, don't get me wrong, he's cunning. He's very intelligent. But you're in a battle royal, and you're in the four corners of Copperville, and you're all looking at each other. He ain't getting the jump on nobody, and he's going to be running and stumbling and tripping and everything else.
So let me give my reasoning behind Ghostface.
It's all right. Did you pick? So go ahead.
So let me give my reasoning, and then I'll pick the person who I think is going to go down.
All right.
Okay. The reason why I picked Ghostface is because, I don't know, like if any of you watch like WWE or anything, like wrestling. Okay, so there was a talk a while back because they were having this like Twitter war. Matt Riddle, like Brock Lesnar, and they're both guys that have like UFC like backgrounds and everything. So the question was, what if they were in a fight? I said, okay, well, if they were in a fight, like a balls to the walls fight, Brock Lesnar would probably win. Now, if they were in a UFC fight, Matt Riddle could possibly like get him in like a arm bar or a leg lock or ankle lock, because he's pretty skilled at that. Ghostface is the same way.
Okay.
Ghostface in the right kind of setting, it'd be easy to say, okay, Pinhead or Jason would totally take out like a Ghostface. But as you said, he's clumsy. Yeah. He could be cunning, as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's possible, given the right set of circumstances, he could take out Pinhead or Jason. Like if he was to like trip them or, do something with his machete, things like that. So no, I definitely think it's possible.
Hey, anything's possible. Anything's possible.
That's why I say Ghostface takes out Pinhead. Okay, so
Pinhead got to vote against him. All right.
So there's my
Josh. Right now, who are you gonna vote for?
Ghostface is going to lose this one. He has no supernatural powers, and for the most part has been a bumbling idiot with a storyline that doesn't really make any sense. They are not very clear on which characters actually exist in the Scream universe and which don't. Not knocking it, still love it, but they keep doing this backtrack thing where they make new stuff up, new brothers exist, whatever. It's cool, I still love it, but there's no supernatural. And Leslie Vernon, before the fight, actually made sure that and loosened the handle on your knife. So as soon as you sliced at Pinhead, this is the only reason you lost. The knife just fell out. It fell out of the end. I'm sorry.
All right.
So Ghostface has been eliminated.
My argument, did not hold up in this case. All right. Maybe next time. I'm not giving up, folks. So okay.
All right. So we are down to Pinhead, Leslie Vernon, and Deborah Logan. If I had to go on this one, I gotta vote out Leslie Vernon. I hate to do it. Same thing. I'm a fan. Probably the most charismatic one on here. However, I think Deborah Logan is pulling from the supernatural realm. Pinhead is from hell. Now, granted, motherfucker does get cut like in half, and still he's alive and shit.
Let me give you one before I
cast it. Okay, go ahead.
Full vote.
Throw it away.
Here's why I think Hellraiser and Leslie Vernon will team up to be the last two in this fight. Because Leslie Vernon has a pure soul and only wants to help other people become pure in soul, which is a hidden sort of subtext to the Hellraiser series, where it's purifying torture, like pain and pleasure, one and the same, and it's all about purifying that idea of true
And it's the
existence.
sinners that actually get...
It's the sinners that get punished, but then they learn from that the punishment, same as pleasure. It's all the same, it's all game. And I think he would really appreciate how pure of a spirit that Leslie Vernon is, and he would be like, fuck Deborah Logan. I don't like her. She's a woman.
She's a sweet.
Well,
Pinhead's not sexist,
who's
though.
put away Pinhead in the past? Women.
It's
He's
always
got a
been
thing
girl.
against women. Angelique betrayed him. Women always betray Pinhead. I don't think he certainly wouldn't. He'd get rid of her pretty quick.
Could be. I'm still going to go Leslie Vernon, but those are good arguments. I feel like it's not necessarily like he's against women, because he has the one chick.
No, I'm not saying he's against women.
The thing
Women are against him.
They've been against him, and he's got a bad history with women in fights. And they've been the only ones that can really top him, except for one man when he beat him before he ever fought Jason X.
Fair enough.
Before he fought Jason X.
Before. Jason, who you go cast your vote against? You got Pinhead, Leslie Vernon, and Deborah Logan.
Oh gosh, that's tough. I'm gonna say Leslie Vernon, and the only reason why I am is because pretty much Josh is looking at me now like
He's going for it.
I killed him. I get it. I knew it.
Yeah.
I thought maybe I should take Pinhead out early.
I look at this. Leslie Vernon, nobody is arguing that he's not a fucking badass, because he is, okay? But in this case, I think a Pinhead for sure. And Deborah, I don't know. Deborah is Yeah.
She's
Yeah, I mean, she's-
a vessel for
Yeah, I mean, she is got the supernatural thing going on. So yeah, I mean, I think if those are the last three standing, probably Leslie goes down next. Probably.
Fair enough. Josh, who are you taking out this one?
Deborah's done.
Deborah's done.
I have never given a shit about the movie. Never watched it, so that's the only reason.
No dog in this fight. You're just like, I don't know her. Fair enough.
I like Pinhead, even if the movies have degrading quality.
Fair enough. I can
I love
respect that.
Pinhead, man. I love Hellraiser.
Kayla, who are you voting for in this one?
To win?
Well, no. To take out. Who are you taking out?
Granted, it's you and Pinhead at
This
this
was
point.
actually close. I'm gonna go with Pinhead.
Take Pinhead out.
Yeah.
And any reason?
Because she's
Well,
Deborah.
His bad
She's like personal. That's the only reason at this point.
He's bad with women. Let's not forget that old grannies are usually the scariest villains. She is a vessel for evil. Her only goal is not even her goal. It's from like the demon possessing her. She will swallow Pinhead.
There
Even
it
if all
is.
those nails, she's like, I got shit to do.
I want to see that visual right there, like the pin sticking down her throat. She's just like, nope, I'm still falling down. All right, so Leslie Vernon has been eliminated. So we are now down to the last two. It's Pinhead. It's Deborah Logan. Jason,
Oh,
you
Lord.
did first vote. Go ahead.
Oh, gosh.
Who's dying in this one?
Probably, I'm gonna say Deborah, just because I think Hellraiser has the power here. You know, he has the upper hand because now it's just him and her. So I think he's going to, yeah.
Gotcha.
I think he's going the distance on this one again. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I will go with a little more reasoning this time because you yourself said that Deborah was a vessel. That means that she is not in control. Pinhead is from hell, which means he's gonna make Deborah his little bitch.
Fair enough.
Fair.
Settles that, I
I'm
guess.
still gonna vote for my girl Deborah because like they're on two different tasks. He may be from hell, but the evil spirit is the one she killed that possessed her.
Alright.
She's fucking evil.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
And let me guess who you're gonna pick before.
Well, I mean,
She's a sweet old lady who killed.
here is my only argument. Now, don't get me wrong. I could give Ghostface the win over Pinhead. I could give Leslie Vernon. I could give Deborah Logan. Because the one thing that everybody kind of forgets about with Pinhead is, look, you ain't gonna kill Pinhead. It ain't gonna happen. But you gotta eliminate from this battle royal. We're, incapacitate. Any jackass that picks up that puzzle box and just like, and just zaps him back, like, oh shit, that was lucky. Oh, ooh.
We have such sights to show.
No,
That's
that's typically opening the box, not closing.
But even
not
closing,
anyone
because
can
even
close it.
Kristen Cotton did part one. She was able to pop it open and zap him back.
She was
into it.
special though.
She was special.
And she's
So-
there's significant people in the
So
Hellraiser
fair enough.
timeline.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, it's possible that
But
anybody could zap him back in
Deborah's
there.
evil though. I don't
But-
think she can open the box.
The same goes for Deborah Logan, is that she is just a vessel. Meaning, you just destroy that vessel, that evil's gone. It will have to find another host, yes.
Did she just
But it's going to take it out of this battle royal. So I gotta say, Pinhead wins by ripping her fucking body apart with chains that come out of nowhere, and that evil just dissipates and wants to come back another day.
Does he fuck her corpse too? Just curious. Just curious.
I don't think Pinhead's into that, to be honest with
Pinhead
you.
doesn't.
I think he's asexual. I'm
I
pretty
think
sure.
he is.
I think
What
he's
possesses
asexual.
him though? What if they have a fight
He is
internally?
I don't know what he is now. In Hellraiser 1, he was like a general in hell, and he's moving up the corporate ladder down there. So I think, honestly, his
But then he
power...
also moved down and adjacent, and he's
well, the corporate world's crazy.
take
down
your
there.
guess
Yeah,
at where
so-
he's at right now.
So Pinhead becomes our first person to retain his title.
No, Jason did 2 weeks, didn't he?
No, because the first time we had it, he wins, but then the second episode he gets taken out.
All because he got cheated.
That's it. So Pinhead wins. He moves on to face another one. So guys, Pinhead's a champion, and we will have a new batch of villains. Be watching out on Twitter. That is where we usually reveal the rank, or we get them out there for tiebreakers. If you guys want to know what the people thought, they actually had Pinhead number 1. They had Ghostface number 2, Leslie Vernon number 3, and Deborah Logan would have been 4. So any tiebreaker, she would have got taken out anyways. But there it is. But let's talk about our main event now. We're here for one reason. We're talking about films, horror films of the 2000s. I guess before I get into the one big question, I'll just kind of have you kind of take the floor here. Why'd you choose this, and kind of give us your talk, give us your speech, give us your spiel.
Well, I don't think that the year 2000s was the best decade for like horror movies. I don't think it was. I mean, there was some that were good, but there were many that were not that great. Which I guess you could say that about like every decade. But I think like in that time period, I think that you had a lot of sequels, which once again, I know you have those like every decade. But I do think that there were a few that really stood out that were really, really good that I think we still like to talk about now. So that's why I wanted to go with the 2000s. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess the big thing we want to talk about when it comes to 2000 horrors, before we get into our own personal top threes, what changes did you guys see? Like, what is it about the 2000s that was different from the previous decades that came to it? Like, what changes did we see in horror? Josh, I'll start with you. What would you say was some of the big major changes you saw in horror in the year 2000?
The biggest thing I noticed in the 2000s, or the biggest change was, I think your cast of characters became less and less likable, and nobody really wants them to survive anymore. They start becoming really, really douchey people. Like, I think of the Halloween 20 Years Later, that one. H2O, did that come out in the 2000s?
That was 98.
98.
Oh man, it's right there though. And that
It's got that feel to it.
Yeah.
Okay, it has that millennial feel.
It does.
That I'm thinking of. It's where they started to make these characters just garbage individuals, except for one person who wasn't that great either. So
Wow.
that's the thing I noticed.
Or
the
Josh
most.
Hartnett. I love that guy. Go ahead.
Man, he's the worst, and he's like 40.
Hello, Cool J.
He's
Come on.
30. He's older than Jamie Lynn Curtis in that movie. I don't know what's going on. She's too hot to have a son that old.
Poor kid.
He doesn't exist anymore, though. Don't worry.
I was like, yeah, he's been erased from the timeline. Kel, I'll let you go. Any significant changes you've seen in the horror genre when it came to 2000s?
I noticed that aesthetic changed a little bit, though the way the filters were. The filters were like getting darker.
Yeah.
Towards the late 2000s, and like he said, characters were becoming less likable, which it helps. But also, like early 2000s, some characters you felt bad for, even though they deserved to fucking die. Those are one of the changes I noticed.
All right. I think for me, I'm going to agree with both of those to a certain extent, especially the aesthetic. I feel like, especially in 2003 when Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out, we were getting a renaissance of that 70s Grindhouse look. And even before Grindhouse came back into fashion and it became a word that we will use a lot.
The Bay look.
Well, no, because this is more, he did the
That's that
gritty
orange
70s,
orange
but with
filter.
that nice sun glaring in your eye. But no, we definitely took a trip back to that grittier look with movies like Hills Have Eyes, Rob Zombie, every fucking movie he did, except for, I guess,
House with Thousand
the only one that gets the exemption. Those Rejects, Halloween, they'll all have that same gritty look to it. Hills Have Eyes, Section of My Soul. So I feel like that was the big thing. I feel like, and whereas we can argue, because once again, like you said earlier, you're bringing up your points about 2000. A lot of these arguments can be made for different points in different decades as well.
Right.
But you can't deny that the horror remake was out of control in the 2000s. Now, yes, they have been around forever, and that's the thing. That's always my other argument. I can play devil's advocate, like whatever side seems to be.
You gotta look at it, because there's like 8 movies in every one of these franchises.
Go back
already.
further to the silent era. That there were literally, and I'm not making this up, somewhere between 8 to 15 versions of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Yeah.
I just wonder, were there like hipster fucking cocksuckers back in the 20s going, all these fucking remakes, am I right? And they're like, damn, there's only been like 30 films in the history of cinema. Like, yeah, I know, and like 8 of them are Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And it just seems like remakes has always been a thing. How many times has Dracula been on the big screen?
Oh, yeah.
Jack the Ripper, all these different characters. But it feels like the difference with them is, A, they were taken more from a literary source as opposed to a film source. Even if they did maybe borrow from the previous films, it just feels like in the 2000s, it was just like, let's start remaking shit, but not just everything. Let's just remake shit from the 80s. It seemed like 70s and 80s got ransacked, and it was just like, I don't think it would have been a big deal if it wasn't happening like every fucking month almost. And like I said, in Scream 4 is a good moment where like they're on the phone with the girl and they're like, what remake? And she just rattles off like 30 fucking remakes, and every one of them was made like literally within a span of
Christmas,
yeah. And I feel like that's it. Now
it's one of those, right?
The counter argument to that is though it always boils down to if it's a good film or not. Yeah. Seriously, right now, I mean, my favorite film of all time is Halloween. They did a direct sequel to it, but they turn around and just said right now, like, we're going to cancel the trilogy. We're going to reboot it again. Part of me is going to be like, really? But the other person will be like, well, I'm going to watch it. It may be good. You don't know until you watch it.
Right.
There are remakes that are good, whatever. And I feel like, especially in the 2000s, you had a good slew of them. I think Hills Have Eyes. Initially, I didn't like it as much as the original, but the more I watch it, Dawn of the Dead's another one.
Oh, that's very
good. Damn good, so you do have this slew of them that, even if they don't live up to the original, maybe good in their own right. I know we'll disagree, but I think the Halloween movie's good.
Was I Am Legend 08? Or like 06?
Yeah, because they did Omega Man and Last Man on Earth, so that was good. So that's what I'm saying, there's definitely some quality there, so. And then I think, realism and grittiness kind of go hand in hand too. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been horror films in the past that were real. Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer and such. But I feel like, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre obviously, but I feel like, or the original, but I feel like, especially in the 2000s, it seemed like we were trying to go more into reality. It seemed like maybe it was the rise of the internet and people going back like, look all these mistakes I found, or look how cheesy this was, and people were just like trying to get away from that and make it more realistic. So you had films like American Psycho, which yes, there is some goofy psychological parts to that, but same time, it was more grounded in reality than, other stuff. All the films I mentioned before, same thing. They all had this basis in reality. And even your supernatural films seem to have a more real look to them, And I know it's beyond the 2000s, but like, I look at Conjuring. I feel like that's a movie that, even though if you believe in ghosts or don't, whatever, it still looks pretty real and it seems believable. It doesn't seem like it's a hokey haunted house movie at all, so. Jason, this was your topic. What major changes did you see in the 2000s, or did we pretty much cover it right?
Well, something that everybody left out was like the torture became a big thing.
Yeah, torture porn.
Yeah. Like Saw, like Hostel. Those movies were big.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were people that just enjoyed watching like the torture stuff.
Because
before that was not really like on the mainstream. Like there were like were movies that were made like B, stuff like that.
Like Jodorowsky, very bloody. And
I mean,
disturbing.
but so it was definitely something that it was like shifting to. You can see people really wanted to see the more guts and the more gore and this nasty stuff. So so people were really like drawn to that, because I remember whenever like you saw like it first came out like in October of 04, it was huge. It was the biggest horror movie since Scream.
Yeah,
people
it was a game changer for sure.
Oh yeah. So
this wasn't even a question I was going to ask, but I guess I'll bust it out there. What do you think the reasons behind these changes were, possibly? Now, I mean, cynically, it's going to be money. But I was going to say, I mean, it could have been maybe 9/11.
I think society
kind of happened, and so now it's like you want more of a.
Maybe what I think it was more than anything. I think it was society. I think there was war, there was terrorism, like you're going on. Mm-hmm. So I think that was a big thing. I mean, it's after But
why would it affect it that way, though? You know what I mean? Like,
because I think that
if people are trying to escape their real life horror, why would you want to make the horror on screen even more real? You know what I mean? Like, you would think it'd be the opposite. Like, if things in life is real, you'd want to make it more fantasy horror, I guess, or maybe more escapism.
I think people took your comfort in like seeing things like Saw because they thought, life's bad, but it's not this bad. You know what I mean? So I think that that's what it was. I think folks. I think that whenever they would see these movies, it might have made them feel better about like how things actually were. So
I think a big reason, especially with Saw, as I was growing up, was the sense of vigilantism, which became super popular in the same generations. Which is this like hero figure that does whatever it takes to get it done. And I think that's sort of a side effect of 9/11, where it's like, no, we needed to get stuff done. We need to take these motherfuckers out. That type of shit. Which, whatever your position on war is, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Well, that's like the theory that like whenever that happened, and like America, like everybody's like what are what are they going to do? Well, they're going to lash out and show like how tough they are.
Yeah.
Or, that's what people do. So
Jigsaw's definitely like a vigilante character where he's not necessarily a bad. his meanings, his actions are wrong, but what he wants to do is good. He wants people to value life.
Yeah.
And I think that's the message that kind of everyone attached to
Take
it.
responsibility.
Take responsibility for your life. Don't let things get
So do you have
bad.
an anti-hero more
He
than
is
a
sort of
villain?
an anti-hero, and I think that was sort of the movement in the 2000s, was this movement toward like an anti-hero feeling.
Well, you got anything
I
to
agree with that
Good?
completely.
Good. I really have nothing else to add to that because honestly I didn't really prepare for that. But I agree with you guys are saying. I feel like I'd just be treading the same ground.
Can't believe we just hit 9/11.
We did.
It just happened.
It just happened. Yeah.
19 years ago. That's hard to believe.
So I guess now the only thing left to do really is to jump into our top threes, our personal top threes. Kayla, we'll start with you. What is number 3 on your list? Top 3 films from the decade of the 2000s.
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill. All right. Want to elaborate on that?
I picked that because it was based on a game, which was also like really fucking disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like there were a lot of movies, scary movies based on games, like
Resident Evil.
yeah, Resident Evil, and I just thought that movie like really made me so uncomfortable because there was no happy ending. Like there was no hope of happy ending, and those are the movies I think affected a lot of people, especially during that time. Movies that made you feel like, well, there'll never be a happy ending. This is the worst.
That movie is pretty bleak.
Till the
and gray.
sequel.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
let's
let's
not
not
talk
There's
sequel.
a happy ending to the sequel.
I was actually happier at the end of this first one than I was the sequel, I'll be honest with you. I love the first Silent Hill movie. I think it's great. And I wasn't expecting to like it as much. I'm not a big video game guy. I just never have been. But I do remember playing the original Silent Hill. And the first one, I remember just... It wasn't like Resident Evil where you can fight back. At least in the first, I'm not sure if the Silent Hill game progressed beyond that where it became more action, shoot 'em up or whatever. But in the first one, it really was like this feeling of you're trapped and you're helpless and everything. I feel like the movie really conveyed that very well. And on top of that, the addition of this weird cult inside this small town. I'm a big fan of when religion goes bad, and I love that, whole thing. So now I'm a huge fan of Silent Hill, and once again, I love the ending as well. So
I want a Silent Hill that's more existential. Like a really weird, like David Lynch one.
I think it's a great video game. It's a pretty good movie. So yeah.
So should we get a hold of David Lynch and be like, hey, we got
Maybe he should make a Silent Hill movie just because it'd be so.
Would it be a remake?
No, let's just make it a sequel. I don't care.
Or just standalone. I mean, once again,
Or an alternate universe.
Exactly. It's Lynch. He knows what it's going to be.
Maybe it's multiple alternate universes.
For me, my number 3, Saw 2. And it's my favorite of the Saw series. Huge fan. To me, Saw 2 does what sequels should do. A sequel should always take the original premise and take it to the next level. So here, instead of this simple game between 2 people chained up, whatever, you get a whole house of fuckers, and it's a house of death traps. I mean, everything. And I feel like they were much more disturbing to watch. I feel like the first one, it definitely had some moments. But I agree with James 1. I don't consider the first one really considered torture porn. They didn't really show a whole lot on the screen. It was more your imagination, I think, But this one, they're like, no, we're going to show you the shit. So the dude trying to cut into his eye, get the key out, gets me every time.
Death mask.
The Venus flytrap. Amanda getting thrown into the needle pit, really fucked up. Even though it's really a stupid moment, I mean, I'll let it slide with the, gas in the room and everything, but when she puts her hands in the fucking... cubes and they start dicing it up. No, the whole thing was really good. And once again, I felt like it lived up to the first one. Whereas I know Josh will disagree with me here because he's like, I knew Jigsaw's alive the whole time in part 1. I didn't. I thought it was a big twist. I don't know why because it's not. This is part 2. It's not like they set up a whole lot. But I guess I wasn't expecting another kind of twist. I really like the idea that the tapings or the whole version you're seeing happening. What you think is real time with Jigsaw and Donnie Wahlberg talking, it's actually taped before. I thought that was really good. I mean, once again, you may call it a cheap twist or whatever, but I thought it was really good. It really was effective, so I really dug that. And once again, aspect I never really looked at though was if you just listen to Jigsaw, everything's gonna turn out okay. And he kept saying, "Just sit here and talk to me." That's all you do. Just sit here and talk to me. Had he sat there and talked to him, then when the timer ran out, the safe would have opened, his son would have been safe.
Well, the first thing he says to him, your son's in a safe
place. Yes. And I feel like, it was the first time where after you go back and rewatch it, you're like, okay. And it really set the tone, I think, for the rest of the movies. Because at that point, even though the characters won't, you at home are just like, okay, stop. Listen to what he's really saying, though. And you usually at that point on, that's why there was no major twist, I think, after that. Because you knew to look for him. Yeah, Jigsaw. I'll give him Jigsaw, but with the original set.
No, the final chapter, man. If you don't remember the biggest twist to that one, I saw coming from Saw 2.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There was no major twist because you could see it coming. Though.
Well, did you see that Dr. Gordon was going to come back for sure?
Well, come back alive, or that he was part of the cult.
That he was the main guy.
Honestly, I did because once again,
I mean,
his whole demeanor.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. So it's what with this one, it made you pay more attention.
There was such subtle hints. The only hint to it was one limping guy, which wasn't actually a hint. It was a mistake when they filmed it. He limped on like one of the film screens.
Oh, really? Okay.
And it's not actually. They weren't trying to show that it's Dr. Gordon.
Okay. To me,
everyone latched to it.
Okay, I would say right off the bat, that's what I thought. So like I said, at the end, whenever he reveals that hood, and it's like, oh shit, Gordon's in this cult. But once again, great ending. But it's just like you saw it coming. Like I wasn't shocked by it.
Yeah.
And so, but like I said, with this, Saw 2 is like the last one. What do you think of Saw 2?
I like Saw 2, and Saw 2 is good. It's one of those movies that, very good sequel, and, very good sequel, like it, takes off like the Saw 1, and the beginning of, with the death mask. I love that scene. That's such a great scene. It's very good. So yeah.
It kind of feels like an Avengers movie a little bit because it's like a team, like it's a full team thing, and that wasn't in Saw 1.
Yeah.
That's what I loved so much about Saw 2. It's this huge cast, and if they'd have worked together, it'd have been great.
Yeah,
but I just love the big dynamic, the big team sort of dynamic.
Oh, I agree.
That's the message I think that if they would all work together.
Well, I think that's Jigsaw's message, through all. It's like,
that's
right.
And that's the political message there. Because, if
we just work together as a team.
If you were not self-centered, then, you would all live. But,
Thoughts on Saw 2?
I liked that it made me worry about the characters, and then by the end of it, that one girl was part of it.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? I thought that was so creative and such a twist, and I really like twists.
Yeah.
It was the first good window into the fact that Jigsaw wasn't a horrible, awful dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like in part one, you're still kind of, Because I feel like in part one especially, even though when you go back and rewatch it now, it's like, well, no, he was still a good guy then. But they didn't really show it like that. It really was like he was just this prick that was just, even though he was trying to teach him a lesson, it was like, you're kind of going too far. But then in this one, I felt like, well, he's going too far, but it's like, I don't know, you're more on his and Amanda's side.
And they make the main bad guy the tough dude.
Xavier,
that goes after everyone. So.
Dude, when he starts cutting his own neck up, you're like, holy shit, dude. Like, this dude's psychotic. All right, you're number 3.
The first Saw, which, there's 5 of them here, like I just said, but the first Saw. And the reason why I like the first Saw is just because it was different. It was like a fresh take on things, it kind of took some things from 7, kind of that same feeling. But no, it was different. And that ending kind of, threw me, unlike Josh over here.
I didn't see it coming. This is propagated nonsense. I did not know.
I could have sworn we had a conversation before you were like, I knew he was dead.
But I felt like there was something going on.
Okay, fair
I didn't know he was the main bad guy.
What was more interesting, that was not like a mannequin. That was actually him.
Yeah, the whole time,
No, I knew in Saw 2, so not Saw 1.
Okay, fair enough.
I knew for sure in Saw 2.
I want to publicly apologize for calling Josh out for something he did not do.
Yeah.
Josh, accept my apology, please.
Okay.
Because Saw 2 should have been obvious after Saw 1.
Yeah. Well, and see, the thing was, though, it was different. It was one of those things that, like I said, it kind of had the, politics thing, going on there. Everybody's, self-centered.
Yeah.
You guys don't know how, to work together. You don't think about, other people, you just think about yourself. And, it was just one of those movies that it was just different. It just seemed like a different take on things.
Yeah.
It wasn't really, too, torture, pornish.
Yeah.
But just the fact that it's would you if you if you're not gonna live, would you chop off your own hand or your foot or something like that? So it kind of puts things into perspective in that way.
My one nitpick was Saw 1 that I just thought of, and I used to nitpick this really hard. And with time, I don't care anymore. When he gets out of the bathtub, when the movie starts, the key goes down the drain.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like,
it's kind of unwinnable.
It's an unwinnable thing, which is not a Jigsaw thing.
Because that's the thing.
This is the first
game. And also, it could be argued too that at this point, who was Hoffman? That's a detective that takes over.
Yeah.
Did he help set up that room? So maybe even he didn't quite.
Was he around yet?
Well, they do the flashbacks and they show that they actually do team up during that one. Amanda's not in the group yet, but Hoffman was.
That was in part 2, right, where it shows they get flash. Yeah.
No, no. He doesn't catch Hoffman till later.
Well, in the franchise, but I'm talking about when they do the flashback, they show that even setting this up because the room with the guy in the barbed wire, Hoffman's watching through the hole. It was him watching, not Jigsaw.
Okay, no, but
And that
Hoffman
happens
wasn't
before.
evil yet.
No, I'm saying, yeah. So Hoffman, but that's what I'm saying is Hoffman may have been the guy who set that up because he doesn't quite
No,
realize.
Hoffman didn't set it up because Hoffman gets
But
caught.
I mean, physically.
Gets caught by Jigsaw
Yeah.
in the 4th one.
Yeah, but that happened
That
before
was
part
Jigsaw.
one.
No, but that was Jigsaw's trap.
Yes.
Hoffman was making his own
But
traps, and that's
Hoffman-
why Jigsaw got
But
pissed.
Hoffman helped set it up. He was the one that literally brought the bodies in with him. Kramer didn't carry those guys in there. Hoffman did.
Maybe I'm misremembering
Yeah.
a lot.
Go back and rewatch the entire series from 1 through Jigsaw.
I mean, I've only done it multiple times.
But no, that's what I'm saying. But I don't mean like the idea was definitely Jigsaw's. That was his plan. I'm saying to actually physically bring the bodies in, set them up was Hoffman.
Or was that when he carried Matthews?
He did both. He did both of them.
Yeah. I'm not sure your timelines are right there.
They're definitely right.
I could be wrong.
You are, but it's okay. But that's what I'm saying. No, but he definitely. That's what I'm saying is from a physical standpoint, maybe Jigsaw had it set up a different way, and then he was just like,
I think it was.
didn't set it like that. Yeah.
I'm gonna look back and then
You need to.
next month
Battle
will
of
be a
Vengeance.
reckoning.
What about your thoughts on the first Saw?
I wasn't like I didn't hate it, but I wasn't a huge fan either. Just because I felt like it was all to torture people.
Mm-hmm.
And although I can't get into like torture films, I also really can't get into torture films.
Fair
And
enough.
that one really, I'm just like, it makes me feel like I'm there. I hate it.
I feel like, without repeating the same thing I did, for part 2, it was fresh, it was different, and like I said, one aspect about these movies I really like is what would I do in that situation? And I feel like this is the first one where I'm like, shit, like I would not make any of these because I would have done the same decision they did or whatever. But I feel like this is the first one that really did kind of get me.
You always want to think, me.
Yeah.
I'd be different, but no, you.
I'm very realistic, so I know what my mistakes are. Like, fuck
Get it for
man.
yourself.
Maybe Saw should be the first franchise to really do an interactive home release. Where you make your own choices.
Oh yeah, I remember they did that with
Netflix. They did that on
yeah, and then Final Destination 3 on their DVD.
But it didn't get anything.
like Black.
Like if someone really did it, like they did.
Like the Black Bear did that, and it
Yeah.
was really cool.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree with that. It'd be really cool, actually.
Maybe. I mean, it could be really shitty.
I think
it'd be really cool.
I think it'd work.
Nothing to try out. Josh, what's your number 3, my man?
My number 3 is Stay Alive.
Oh wow.
Starring Frankie Muniz.
All right.
It's based on a game.
Yeah.
Or maybe.
It's based off video games and horror culture mixed together. I just found it so much fun as a young kid, and I liked watching it. And they had the interactive DVD where you could play. Where if you got if you mixed up the actual outfits properly or something, I don't remember what. There's a lot of interactive stuff on the DVD that I liked, and it was just fun, campy, cool movie when I was a 13-year-old, and so I still love it now.
Okay, fair enough. What did you do about Stay Alive?
I still love it.
Still love it?
Yeah, it was one of my favorites. Even though it was kind of cheesy or something, I thought it was so much fun.
There's some really brutal shit in it, though. There's some really good violence. They ended up cutting that movie from being an R-rated movie into a PG-13.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And then when they released the unrated, it's a little bit better. But there's a version where I'm guessing it's.
So you're saying
really
even
good.
the unrated version that's released wasn't really the
I don't think
unrated?
it's the real version. I think they're actually. And I could be misremembering some YouTube videos, but someone was discussing it, that there's a more...
Is there a
good
Event Horizon cut of this out there?
I don't know if there's actually a cut, but the studio interaction really wanted it to be
So
PG-13.
maybe, okay, gotcha.
So it may have been early on before they filmed, where they wanted to be more gruesome. I don't know.
Yeah. I can see them wanting, not them at the studio, let's make this, it's video games, it's horror, teenagers need to see this, I can see them cutting it down. I personally was not a fan. I was really wanting to be a fan. And I remember the one argument or complaint I heard from people back when it came out was it was too close to the ring.
Yeah.
The video game. But I didn't mind that. I'm okay with that. With just you play a game, you're stuck, or you got to beat or whatever the thing was. But just The execution I didn't care for. I think it looked good, and I like the concept, but yeah, I just wasn't big on the execution of it. Stay Alive, which is
I think it was a good film.
good film.
You know, I liked it. I thought it worked.
Yeah,
So.
fair enough.
You just gave it a huge compliment by calling it a film. No, I like it. I love it a lot. I'd have probably called it a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know,
Yeah.
films, you know, movies, you know.
They're interchangeable.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so have you done your number 3 yet?
Yeah.
No, no. Did you
Yeah.
do part 3 or?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think you started with her, so that was you.
What was your 3?
Number
If you don't mind me asking. I'm blanking.
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so it is
right.
me.
Yeah, so it's your number.
Alright, so, it's your number 2 then. Go ahead and do your number 2. Normally I did rotate before, but it's
Okay.
less
My
confusing.
number 2 is American Psycho.
American Psycho. Nice.
I was always a real fan of that movie. Plus, I had a huge crush on Christian Bale. The movie stressed me out because he was such a control freak. To the point he was gonna kill everybody. He
Yeah.
just had a hard time not having control over everything. And by the end of the movie, I still don't know, did he kill those people or not?
It depends. I mean, so here's the thing with me. When I watched it initially, and I thought I knew it, I always interpreted it as it was all in his head. And then I watched it with the commentary with Mary Heron, I think is her name. And to her, she's like, oh no, he did do all the murders, but the reason why he gets away with it was, the commentary was, or the satire was, the fact that everybody in the 80s all looked alike, and they were all just white businessmen. It was like, they thought they saw him in that other country, and they're like, don't you remember, we saw, or not him, Jared Leto's character, like, oh yeah, they already saw him over there.
Bateman, yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, and that, couldn't have been you. He's like, oh, I got away with it. And so, I don't know, when I heard that, I didn't like it as much. I like the idea of a guy who, in his own head, is a serial killer.
Like drawing.
Even though he's not, that's just how fucked up he is. But it's also dangerous because it's like, at any point, he could turn over to it. But once again, after revisiting, even after hearing the commentary, it's still a great film. I think Christian Bale gives one of the best performances he's ever given. I think visually, and I'm disappointed that girl never went on to direct anything major after this. I feel like she did such a good job
Yeah,
here.
she did.
Like I said, from a vision, and once again, I don't know if it's her though, or if it's the script as well. Like maybe that can make a world of difference too. You got a good script, but
The aesthetics though were there's a lot of choices.
There
that
really
were
was,
made.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. It seems like why we ain't hearing about Mary now. I don't know why, but no, I just thought it was great. And not to keep jack myself off, but in self-isolation, there was a lot, and Unspeakable Acts too. A lot of stuff I did in those, I base a lot off Patrick Bateman. I mean, just like he's a great character. He really is. I love that psychotic coolness that he
Like
brings.
raincoat and everything in the axe.
It's just
that's cool.
brilliant.
The Huey Lewis scene.
Oh, yeah,
That's enough for
forever.
You have to be square, right?
If you're gonna watch one show, one bit, that's it.
My favorite scene, like in that movie, is like business card thing.
Oh yeah.
Where they're like, look at the
So
business cards,
stressful.
and they all look the exact same. And he's like, oh my god, look, it's oh my god.
Off shade, ace shell, wine, or something like that. He just like.
breakdown.
And then one of the
Yeah.
other things there, he's got that guy like in the bathroom, and then he goes up and puts his hands, and then that guy's like, and then like washing his hands like with the gloves on, like.
Well, that I
And that's
love.
just-
He just always like, I gotta return some videotapes. Like,
Yeah,
it's a get out excuse every time. Like, I got some videotapes to return. So.
And then it shows him doing his
It's
his like stomach crunches, watching like Texas Chainsaw.
And pornography. He had porn in the background too. I
Yeah.
like that mix of sex and violence in his world. Like he'd always.
Yeah. And he's this like white collar guy.
Yeah. That's what they. And I think the other thing I really liked about it too was just the fact that like. I don't know. I feel like that's the other thing that supports my argument that a lot of it's in his head because, like, watching him have sex, like when he's having sex with the prostitutes,
He's looking at himself in the mirror.
boom, doing it. But
He's
then
like
he's having sex with
self-centered.
that one girl, his clothes are all on and the pants aren't even down past his crotch hardly. And you're just like, okay, so when he's about to kill somebody, he's a superstar. Look at this. But then when he's actually having sex with somebody that he knows or whatever, it's like, wow, like this is the.
It's like he's like self-conscious.
It really is, yeah.
I think
He's like
that was to show
self-conscious.
the lack of intimacy that he wanted to have.
And that could be. I mean, once again, I guess that could be
Because
part
he's
of
not
it.
attached to any characters in the entire movie, and like even
Even his fiancée
in
or
those
whatever,
sexual acts with the
yeah.
prostitutes, he's not attached to them.
No.
Once again, it's the same dynamic, but I think if he was naked, there's a sense of vulnerability with the fiance.
Well,
that's what that.
Well, it wasn't a fiancé, it was his friend's wife. Remember, they were all
Friend's
cheating on
wife.
each other or whatever.
Yeah, they were all fucking each other.
It's like a soap opera.
Yeah.
They're all fucking each other.
What'd you think about American Psycho?
I love American Psycho a lot. Loves like he kills the hobo and then kills the
Yeah.
dog. And it's like That's it. That's a Psycho.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first movies to expose me to that. It's a rubber reality movie.
I was
sort
going to say
of,
the same thing, yeah.
just because it doesn't matter which one it is. It's
Yeah.
a movie that's supposed to make you think.
Yeah.
But like my view was always that it was real, and that because of all of his connections, being a rich white man at the peak of the '80s, you could do whatever the fuck you want. Ask Weinstein.
Oh!
You know, ask anybody from
You
that
had to
era.
go there.
They're all
Had to
racist,
go there.
shitty people,
Yeah,
and they all got away with it.
Oh, you're absolutely right, though. I mean, yeah.
Well, see, that's like the whole concept. These people that are like well-to-do people, these like rich people, like Trump,
Yeah.
that think that they should be able to like, like grab somebody's pussy and everything.
Yeah, I mean, don't apply to them or whatever.
Yeah, they act like, look, I have all this money, I can do whatever the fuck I want,
Yeah,
and if you don't like it, fuck you. And that was kind of like, Trump's message, and that's his appeal, I think, to some people, because, I think some people now, because we kind of live in this like woke culture, where people are afraid to like say things, they're afraid to like to come off as racist and shit. And now you got the president up here like saying like all this racist bullshit. So you got people now like, oh well he's saying it, so I can say it, right?
See,
So
I feel like with Patrick Bateman though, it was less about I'm doing it because I can. I think he was just really
No, he wants
psychotic. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was less like I got the money so I can do this. It's just like no, it's like he got lucky with the money and that helped him out. I think honestly, even if he was poor working at Burger King, he'd still be doing it. Yeah, he'd be going around cruising, killing prostitutes and everything.
And this is a little bit just a story about excess.
Yeah.
And don't
It was set in the 80s too. I mean, it's why it really was just.
Don't that kind of like though, because that kind of makes me think of like Dexter in some ways, because Dexter has this desire to like kill.
Yeah.
So he only kills like bad people that really like deserve it. I guess his father like told him, well, look,
Gave him the code. Yeah.
what you got to do is only kill bad people. Don't just go around like randomly like
Like
killing
only being a
motherfuckers.
vampire for animals, like in The Little Vampire.
Well, I mean, but see, I think that his thing was, look, if you just go around like you're killing, you might end up, like in a death row. Because, but if you start killing people that are bad people, nobody's gonna miss them, right?
Yeah.
So it's like
I mean, it makes sense. I mean.
yeah.
Kind of like with Jigsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. That's exactly
It's an
it.
anti-hero.
Anti-hero.
And he's not.
He's a
an
vigilante.
anti-hero. Not at all.
Bateman's definitely not. But
Well, Dexter's like a vigilante.
yeah, Dexter is. Yeah,
He's
Dexter
an
is.
anti-hero.
But the thing is, like, vigilantes. I mean, I know, like, all of us like vigilantes. Like Dexter and Batman and whatever else. But
So
that's
I really like Batman because he doesn't kill anybody.
Batman doesn't set up a death room, when he's like taking out Riddler.
Now the first
Maybe
thing
it was pretty cool he did. I mean,
Yeah, see, that
only
was-
in movies.
But that was the
Only in
problem that
movies.
people had with like Tim Burton's Batman, because he was just killing motherfuckers like all over the place. It's like,
I love Tim Burton.
oh yeah, me too. I wish he had dropped that motherfucker like off the building. That would have been better, But I mean,
All right, I'm running it back in. My number 2, Grindhouse, and I mean the full theatrical release of Grindhouse. Not each individual movie. I'm talking the full experience, all 3.5, 4 hours.
Nice
to the
cheat.
wall.
Oh,
No, that's good. That's
no,
a good move, honestly. I
I mean,
respect the cheat.
But it is just like I just love it, and really, it was one that was going to get left off this list initially, and I guess because I didn't think it was a cheat per se. I mean, I didn't do just
It's not like a cheat, but it's
it
a
was
good.
But it was one of
move.
those that's just like, I don't know, it's a horror film. It's in my horror section, but for some reason it just feels like it goes more to the comedy, satire,
Fun.
meta. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more. And so it's like, I don't know, but I love that fucking movie. And with the Grindhouse format itself, with the fake trailers and everything, but it's just like the package itself is great. And
Which one's your favorite, though, of the two?
Not just to suck off Tarantino, but goddamn, I love that fruit man.
Okay.
I really do. I know, I'm Tarantino, but it just, I love the character.
I think you went
more.
balls
I
deep
feel like-
just nowadays.
I really did. I
Yeah,
mean,
you did.
I think the characters were more fleshed out. But I will say, I think that the final stunt ride, the car chase, that's like the best car chase I've ever seen at that point, and even now.
Since like Mad Max.
Because but it's very
Oh,
real.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's not just that, but it's just like it is Mad Max, but Mad Max came later. Like literally, this dude had the balls to do it.
Mad Max came
Oh, you mean
first.
the first now? Okay,
The
you
orig-
you're talking about Fury Road. Yeah,
not Fury Road, the
Yeah.
original man.
yeah, gotcha. But
No, the real
Not like the
where they have the
Peter
sped up
Parker,
footage.
right?
I think it was a huge influence on Death Proof.
oh yeah, I know it definitely
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
No, because on this isn't quite Hollywood documentary. We were talking about Australian films. That's what he said was the not just Mad Max, but whatever that guy did after that. It was a crazy car chase. Well, but not in the Mad Max franchise. But it was another really big. But once again, there was no regulations in Australia. It was just strap a camera to the fucking car and go.
What's that guy's name? The guy that makes Mad Max. What's his name? George something, right?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I'll look it up so that we don't.
But anyway, that's what just Quentin Tarantino was just like. So we're gonna do it that way. We're gonna literally get and Zoe Bell's really on that car. She's really hanging on to it as they're flying down to up to 100 miles per hour. It's fucking awesome. And even Kurt Russell, they kept telling him not to do it. They're like, you're not gonna be. We're gonna get a stunt driver for you. Every now and then,
George Miller.
George Miller. There you go.
Every now and then, he would ask Tarantino like, hey, can I drive this one? And Tarantino was like, you go for it. Boom. But yeah, it's fucking awesome. Yeah, Grindhouse. What are your thoughts on it?
Love it. Love that. I mean, it's just great. I mean, it's wonderful. It's just one of those movies that you could watch over and over again, not grow tired of. I mean, it's just one of those. Yeah, very good, excellent film.
I'm not wrong that this, and I'm only saying that I'm not wrong. It's Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino together for the double feature. I love seeing those two just work together. Anytime they're just. I love Robert Rodriguez, even Spy Kids, all that shit.
I agree. No,
I love him specifically, and because of these two movies, we do get Machete.
Yeah.
Along the line, and Planet Terror is my favorite too.
Fair enough. But, honestly, when we first came out, I was definitely more on Planet Terror. But you gotta remember, in 07, zombies haven't fully come back yet. Yes, we had Land of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Shaun of the Dead, but it wasn't like Walking Dead oversaturation yet. And so the first, these aren't really zombies.
Walking Dead's like 09 or
2010. And so it was one of those things where I'm just like, it wasn't dead yet, it wasn't overkill yet. So it was just like, yes, they're kicking. And not just that, but Rose McGowan's fucking awesome in that movie. I love the machine gun leg and everything else. But once again, as time has gone on, the more I watch it, I gotta say, dead proof. What about you?
I was definitely a huge fan of Planet Terror. That was the first one I watched. I watched them out of order, and I watched them when I was, I think I was still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But it was me getting back into horror, and that one was so much fun. And her just walking around with no leg, always announcing, "I have no leg."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, cool.
we couldn't see that,
Love it. All right, your number 2.
My number 2, 13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts.
Now, this movie gets so much hate, and I don't understand why this movie gets so much hate, because this movie is awesome. This movie, I think like a ghost in it are just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they just look scary as hell. They are so terrifying. It came out in 2001, and this was a remake of an older film. And it was just one of those movies, like the house is so cool looking. It's just like the ghost. And I don't get why people don't like this. I mean, it's, I think it's wonderful. And there was this article that I read back in 2019 that was talking about, if you watched this back in like 2000, definitely, watch it now. Yeah. Definitely, give it this look now, because they said, look, it's very good. It's an excellent film. The ghost, the like of acting, the writing in it. But I'm like, it gets like 16% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Really?
And I don't understand.
Is that critics or is that
Critics.
people? Okay, see, I was saying critics hate horror anyway.
Well, see, a lot of the time, but I mean, I just don't understand, because this is a superior horror film, 13 Ghosts. I mean, it really is. Excellent movie.
Josh, what are your thoughts on 13 Ghosts?
I like 13 Ghosts. I understand why people don't like it. There's a lot to like, but only if you're looking for it.
Yeah.
And there's things not to like about it. But what I like specifically, Matthew Lillard, a lot. I love him, and I just want to see him in everything. Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah.
I love Monk, and I just love Tony Shalhoub. Another Spy Kids guy.
Yeah.
And J.R. Bourne is in it as well.
Who is he?
He does a lot of TV, and he's just a good actor.
But who was he in 13 Ghosts?
He was in 13 Ghosts, Benjamin Moss.
I don't remember which.
Yeah, dude, I don't even remember his character.
Yeah.
I saw him on here, I'm like, nah, I dislike that guy. Do you recognize him? He's got the pretty eyes.
No.
What is it?
He was in Stargate.
No idea.
Nobody?
Oh, I know him.
This guy, yeah.
Okay.
Great actor.
All right.
Oh, he's also in Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
But I just like him. He's just a handsome guy with pretty eyes who's a good actor. And was in SG-1, Stargate.
He's a daddy. That's the type he is.
What are your thoughts on 13 Ghosts?
I was too scared to watch it when it came out.
Okay.
Like, I was like in 4th grade.
Uh-huh.
But like, I wish I would have gotten into it more, because I think it was a really good story. And the house itself was kind of like, a mystery.
Yeah.
Like it
Oh,
wasn't
awesome
just
looking house.
it wasn't just the 13 Ghosts. It was a house too.
Yeah, like that house was awesome. I
The
like
house is
that.
definitely a
I'd
character.
like to see
Yeah.
13 Ghosts remade.
Yeah.
And I don't like to throw that around a lot, but
No,
that's
no,
a
no.
movie that I think
I
could
go
benefit.
benefit.
No,
from
I
one
definitely
take.
think so because I think the way it was done here, I mean, yeah, I think if it was like a remake, I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Remake it, bring Matthew Lillard back as the main character, and just say that movie never happened.
I like 13 Ghosts. I'm a big fan of it. Definitely better than the original. It's one of those things where I, like Josh, I get the hate, and I really like this movie. I don't know if I'd put it too high on my list or not, but what I did like about it was definitely the set design. I feel like it had a certain, and not just that, a lot of dark castle films at the time, like House on Haunted Hill,
And the ghosts too.
They all had a very
I just thought
distinct
that
look.
they just,
Oh, yeah,
they
no,
were just
those
so
definitely-
terrifying.
yeah, no,
they were so
did.
terrifying.
And then, like I said, I like the story. Even when you say the story out loud, it sounds so ridiculous, but for whatever reason, even me and my cynical, jaded ways, I was cool with it. The idea of, like, the guy is collecting ghosts, that sounds so fucking stupid, but for some reason, it works here. And I love the villain. I think the villain was really cool, dude. Was that the F something Abraham or Murray or F Murray Abraham or something like that? Is it guy?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I liked him from Anaconda and Scarface. He was just a great character actor. He was great in here. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a good first time. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I feel like
I watched it about a year ago.
the same issue I had with this, the same issue I had with House on Haunted Hill remake was they're both solid starting off, and they're both really good, creepy looking. It's like as the movie goes on, I feel like the tension.
It becomes Hollywood as it goes.
Yes, it just becomes, I don't know, standard, I guess. It's just like the creepiness goes out, and now it's no longer you're watching a horror film, you're just watching a thrill ride. And I'm just like, there's nothing wrong with that. It just, I don't know, I feel like they each start off so solid, and it's just like, fuck. So, number 2, it's your turn.
Oh, my number 2. Let me check my notes so I don't say the wrong thing as my number 2. My number 2 is Dead Silence.
Okay.
I just liked this movie. I'm really scared of puppets. Always was as a child. I guess I'm over it now, but I really didn't like ventriloquist puppets at all. I mean, I don't know. It's just okay. When I watched it later in life, I realized the aesthetics of it. And is that a wand? That is a wand. Okay, so it's one of the first movies that he did with that singular.
Did you see the jigsaw, or sorry, the
Yeah.
puppet?
Yeah.
Billy's yeah.
But the red highlights in his movies that would carry on in like Insidious.
Yeah, his color scheme very
specific. His color scheme. I really liked the color work he did in that, where it was just the red was the main influence and kind of give it this bloody aesthetic. And it was just a weird movie, and I liked it.
Don't be ashamed of it.
Yeah.
They're good. Dead Silence, what do you think of it?
I really liked it too. I was when I first saw it, I really fucking hate puppets. I hate creepy looking doll things.
Yeah.
And the ending where she's like, she's the puppeteer for real. I'm like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
For me personally, I'm not as huge on Dead Silence, but hear me out. I do think it's the lesser of James Wan's work.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know what I expect to begin with. It wasn't this, but the twist, I do love the twist. And I remember thinking, like, I want to watch it again, because I've only seen it once. Knowing the twist now, like, because I feel like, did he cheat at any? Is it, because once again, I want to say, I'm pretty sure in every scene of the guy, I'm sure the girl's right behind him with the arm right here, or whatever, so it can, work it. But I was like, I don't know, I feel like this is one of those, like, whenever there's a good twist, I always want to go back and rewatch the movie, but for some reason, just never got around to rewatching this one. But, like I said, for what it is, I thought it was alright. I'm okay with it. Dead Silence? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
There was one strange thing about the twist, and like once you pointed it out, because that wasn't my favorite part, is that it's supernatural up until that point where she has to move.
Yeah.
So that was weird to me. Why is there
a manual thing for it?
and
if
you
it's
haven't needed it this
exactly.
whole movie? I don't know. It was weird, but I still love the movie.
I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it worked. Like them, I've never liked puppets. I've always been kind of freaked out by puppets, especially one that looks like that, But I mean, I liked it. I thought it was good, and I don't really have much more to add.
All right, fair enough. That's good.
Yeah.
So you're on number 1 now. We're this is it. Number 1.
This is the finale, folks. Here we go. Get ready.
Okay, what we got for us?
Hostel Part 2.
Hostel Part 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Lots of torture porn. The ending is what got me. Like I said, I like twists. Her like forming her own little cult.
Yeah.
With kids. Because she was so traumatized. That's why I like it.
I need to rewatch Hostel Part 2. I haven't watched it since I watched it the first time. I thought it was just way too similar to Part 1, and I love Part 1. Part 1 I thought was fucking awesome. In fact, it was initially on my list. That and The Ring was on my list, and I took them both out. But I really love Part 1. But Part 2, I just felt like it was just too similar. However, I like the fact at the end how they turned, like, you know, because they did a flip-flop. And if I remember correctly, you hit the two guys that were doing the torturing, the older gentlemen who are there, part of the club. Like, one guy wasn't really into it, and the other guy's like, yeah, we're gonna fucking kill these people, yeah. And then, about midway through, they do kind of flip-flop where the timid dad is kind of like, he's into it, and the other guy not so much. But then, whenever the girl, you find out she actually has money, and then she ends up making a phone call, and then she's like, oh, guess what?
Cuts his dick
I
off.
just bought you. And I remember liking that. And the only other thing I can think of that I really liked was the Elizabeth Bathory type murder where they get the girl upside down.
Oh, then she cuts her.
And then she's bathing in the blood. I like that scene. I don't know, I was pissed that they killed Jay Hernandez so early in the movie. I mean, I get it as a trope in horror. When you're the final person, Part 1, they'll try to kill you off. Early Part 2, I get it. Doesn't mean I like it. But no, I do want to watch it again because I feel like I want to give it another chance. Plus, my boy QT, his name's attached to it, so I feel like I can't hate on it too much. You know, when I'm sucking off Tarantino all the time, you gotta be like, I gotta give it a shot.
You gotta lick his ass.
You gotta lick the ass every now and then. You gotta get on those balls a little bit.
I thought that the Bear Jew did really good with this one, you know. And if you guys get that reference, I
get it. If they're watching us, they get the reference. They're good.
The Bear Jew, like an Eli Roth. But yeah, you know, I really like it, you know, like Part 2, just because, I don't know, I like it better than the first, like, Hostel. I could be playing, you know, but yeah, no, I like it, because I mean, you know, you got these two guys, you know, one's got money, the other's his best friend, you know, doesn't really have money, but he's, you know, they're both wanting this rush, I guess you could say. They both want to say, okay, yes, we're going to kill somebody, you know, because I guess, but, you know, I thought it was good. I liked it, and yeah.
Josh, also too?
I will not suck the dick of Quentin Tarantino just because it's Hostile and just because he's involved. I don't like Hostile movies.
Okay.
I don't care. There's no motivation besides in the first one where it's a bunch of dudes who want to fuck European chicks. I think the direction's not very good.
Oh, wow.
Where I think Eli Roth is really good in Green Inferno.
Yeah.
And I think he gets better as he starts cutting his teeth. I'm a little upset that the Bear Jew was supposed to be Adam Sandler and was recasting Eli Roth. Just throwing that in there as an extra aside, but I don't like
Hostel. That's what you really think here, Josh. I don't like really sounded off over here.
I don't like Hostel because there's just zero motivation behind any characters to do what they're doing.
I thought Eli Roth was awesome as the Bear Jew, by the way.
Oh, he's great. He is awesome.
He was awesome.
But can you imagine Adam Sandler coming down that fucking hallway?
Could you see like a Brad Pitt? So we got a guy here who wants to die for country. You know, oblige him. Like Adam Sandler. You know, like. Yeah, with the golf club.
Fuck you, Adam Sandler, for not doing that.
Agreed.
Adam Sandler, though, like, what?
He's the bear. He is the Bear.
Well, the fact that he turned it down for funny people is what pisses me off.
You know,
I love funny people.
Not to get off subject, but one of my favorite movies of him is like Punch Drunk Love.
Never watched it.
He's great.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's different. It's different from any movie.
Oh yeah, no. I know all that. Yeah.
And like Hidden Gems, you know, like have you watched that?
Nope.
Oh, guy, it's on Netflix or Amazon. You guys have to watch Hidden Gems.
I hear great things.
How he was not nominated for an Oscar for that? Fuck you, Academy.
Wasn't he nominated?
No, he was not. He was nominated for a Globe and a SAG, but he was snubbed at the Oscars.
Okay.
And he actually said if he was not nominated, or if he didn't win, he was going to quit acting. So let's see.
Too bad for that.
I'm pretty sure he's got a new movie coming.
He does. Halloween Hubby or Hoobie or something like that.
Which I'm somewhat weirdly
looking forward to.
Wanting to see.
I mean, I'm just so anti-Adam Sandler at this point in my life. I'm just.
No. Like Hidden Gems, I know you guys will love him.
I don't want to watch that
Definitely
one.
watch it.
I don't want to see Adam Sandler like that. I like Adam Sandler, and I don't want to see him be an unlikable guy.
Yeah.
Like ever.
But see, that's the thing. I don't think he is unlikable in this movie.
He seems like a douche.
No, I mean, but see,
he seems like a New York douche.
Okay, yeah, he's kind of douchey, but the other guys are way douchier.
See,
it
doesn't work for me.
That's what I'm saying.
but he's got a heart of gold in every movie.
Yeah, but it's like he's
like
still
Happy
playing the same
Gilmore.
role.
He has to overcome
That's
his
my thing.
anger.
He's playing the
Yeah,
same role
it's
in
the
every
same-
film of, like,
A little
the same in Grown Ups as he is in.
Little Nicky's not that same
It's
role.
like
What are you
Arnold
talking about?
Schwarzenegger.
That's just Billy Madison, even more stupid.
And that same guy is in like all the movies.
Yeah.
You know, that same guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, you
Yeah.
can do it, Nicky.
Okay,
you know?
here is where I'm gonna take Daniel's blinders off.
Oh my god.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson has never played any role other than Dwayne The Rock Johnson in every
I
movie he's
disagree.
been in.
Snitch and
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
But wait
Dwayne
a
The Rock
minute. Hey,
Johnson in Snitch.
Hey,
He's
Southland
no,
Tells.
If
no
you make-
different than Adam Sandler.
the day you
no different than
the
Adam
day you
Sandler.
make the kind of money that Dwayne The Rock Johnson does,
He is a
Let me tell
character
you.
actor that is Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
But
in the
he is
Tooth Fairy,
a
he's
character-
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
a character actor.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
if he's,
Every single movie he's in. I've
if
never
he's a
seen him play.
character actor, he's
He
a very
goes-
highly paid character.
He
actor.
raises that eyebrow.
I would say his early films, sure,
Saying
but I gotta
jokes.
say
No.
Snitch and Southland Tells, two totally different performances.
Southland doesn't
And who
Tell us.
knows?
Does not count.
He may very well be like president someday.
He's not even a good
He might
actor.
be.
You
Oh.
should do a podcast on actors who do the same thing.
No, I don't disagree that he's not a good actor, but he's made a lot of fucking money.
I think he's
I think he's a great
I think he's
actor.
charismatic and people love him. And
That's
I
true.
like to see him.
Yeah.
But he's an awful actor.
What was that show he was on? Balls or whatever? Is that what?
Ballers. I didn't.
I think a lot of
Ballers.
it is
Balls
his
or
look.
ballers?
He'll
Isn't
never
that
be able to
like
get
the
away from his
tournament
look.
thing?
I've read
I haven't
that.
watched, I haven't watched Ballers, but I do want to. That does look good. But
And he's going to be typecast for the rest of his life.
What
So
we
it's
talk-
not entirely his fault. I
Yeah.
won't say that.
like, how do we get to this segue here? I want to talk.
It was. I wanted to take
Adam
his
Sandler?
blinders off.
He
of
was-
Adam
He was
Sandler.
taking a
He's
shot at me.
hating on
I
Adam
was taking on
Sandler.
Adam Sandler. He's like, I'm
How do
gonna
we get on? Oh, the Average. Okay, I was just like,
Yeah.
see, this leads to so
This
many
is it.
things.
We take detours.
Basically, Adam Sandler should have been the Bear Jew.
Yeah. Oh, I agree, but he turned it down and he spit in the face of Tarantino and me at the same time. So.
But he
Adam
made
Sandler.
funny
Just
people,
you,
which was
Daniel. That's what he
great.
was thinking about.
Funny
Me.
People gets 2 thumbs up from this guy. Very realistic relationship.
So my number one film of the 2000s is The Devil's Rejects. In my opinion, it is the best Rob Zombie film. I love the shift in style and tone. I think this movie really solidified Rob Zombie as a filmmaker, or at least in his style. Love House of Thousand Corpses. In fact, if I did a top 10, it would be my top 10 2000 films. But Devil Rejects me, I just love it. I love movies where you're rooting for sadistic killers, and you shouldn't be. And like, that's the thing is when you watch this movie, they're not good people at all. Like they will never get that. Like they are doing bad shit from part 1 all the way through this. Even at the beginning of this one, like they're killing innocent people. They rape that woman in front of the husband, or they give her a forced blowjob. Either way, it's all like these are bad people, and yet
The one girl
midway through, you're just like, you're on their side, and you can't explain it. When Sheriff Wydell is avenging his dead brother, he's clearly the right guy, and yet for some reason he manipulates the film in a way where you're like, I'm rooting for Baby and Otis to get away here, and Captain Spaulding to, And one of the best endings in cinema history, I just love this. They take the entire song of Freebird, and they literally do the police shootout. I love it. Once again, just to me, that encapsulates the 2000s more than any other film. When it comes to horror, anyways. Without it being a remake, I guess. Just that gritty, realistic look. So, what do you think of Devil's Rejects?
I want me a 2D fucking fruity.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
But I love that movie. I love the beginning of it where that one like prostitute, like in, was she a prostitute like in the dream that he was having, or?
Yeah. Horse or Ginger Lynn, but yeah.
Yeah. So
I like that you knew.
Well, yeah.
Only Daniel would know that.
I peruse, but go ahead.
But no, and the ending is great. I mean, the movie. Yeah, I actually think I like House Without a Host a little bit better than.
Oh yeah, no, we had a discussion last time. I think,
Yeah.
the first time.
But
yeah.
The Devil's Rejects, I mean, it definitely shows that Rob Zombie is a filmmaker and he can do good films. I mean, it's a very good film. It's very the horror, like in this movie. I will award everybody if you've not seen it. It's sick, it's sadistic, it's all those good things. But you're very good. Very good film.
I am a huge, massive fan of Rob Zombie, and I hate every movie after 1,000 Corpses. Because I think someone chopped his dick off, or something, because it just seems like his direction that he was headed in 1,000 Corpses, he was like, no, we can't do that. People won't like that, or something. I don't know. I just don't like how gritty and real he got, but it's not very realistic at all. There's no likable characters past 1,000 corpses. Not even the people that are the good guys
Well,
are
you know, who
worth
is the
rooting
likable
for.
character?
Yeah,
outside of corpses?
The regular dudes.
Rainn Wilson.
They're, you're like Rainn Wilson and the
Chadwick.
like they're not horribly
It's like
likable.
Captain
They're
Spaulding.
kind of douchey. Yeah, Spaulding is one of the only likable
You know, so
characters.
you go that town, but I don't.
And it's not obvious that he's a bad guy in the first one.
Yeah, I
either,
know, until
which
the end.
I don't think he actually
Till the
is.
end.
No, I don't even think he was in the first one.
So you think Dr. Satan was just hiding out?
I think he just
Randomly hitchhiked on him?
because it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre a little bit. They were going for a reminiscent scene
Okay,
like that.
fair enough.
And I don't know. I really like Spaulding in the first one, and then I feel like
I like his tattoo,
degrading
you know,
quality.
John Wayne. He's got the John Wayne tattoo.
Yeah.
But I love listening to him talk. I really want to see him do a movie about whatever the hockey team is.
Yeah.
That he wants to do. I
Yeah.
really want to see him do that.
Broad Street Bullies or something
Yeah,
like that.
he needs to do that. I want to see him do other things other than
He's a fan of
dirty
hockey.
movies with people who fuck their cousins. I don't want to see that ever.
Coming
again.
this fall, Cousin Fuckers from Rob Zombie. So.
It feels like it.
Dirty Cousin
I
Fuckers.
respect him
Director
so
of
much.
31.
Make whatever movies you want, Rob Zombie. You have all.
You know, I feel like
it really doesn't matter.
the other
love
night
you.
I watched Three from Hell and I watched the documentary.
I thought Three from Hell was good.
And I love it. And but it's one of those things where it's like when you actually see him like behind the scenes, it's like man, he is very like he goes into detail on
He's a
every little thing.
genius.
And it's just like I don't think he gets the credit. I think everybody just kind of blows it off as like
I
he just does
actually-
these fuzzy little.
And I actually like
films
31. I think of Richard Brake's
I love
character.
31. Yeah. Oh,
I think of Richard
Doomhead was
Brake's
great,
character.
Yeah.
Like Richard Brake is so fucking good.
I feel like Rob Zombie read like a post of mine because I remember at the very one I said they need to do a crossover movie where Doomhead is actually a long lost relative of the Firefly clan, and then that's when you find out that that's why he dressed like a clown in that movie. And
it's like
but then when Three from Hell came out, they're just like, well, shit, we got to do a replacement for
And
Captain
like,
Spaulding,
you know-
so they're like Richard Brake, and I was like, shit, I guess we ain't gonna bring over Doomhead. I guess.
and it makes you wonder because
Should
he
have.
wasn't planning.
Yeah.
He wasn't
Missed
planning.
opportunity.
It'd
See,
made
he
it
wasn't
good.
planning on like working,
Yeah.
because you know that character was not planning on like doing anything.
Yeah.
But like, your money was just right, so he's okay. I'll do it. Okay, fine.
I didn't like the look of Otis as much, just to point that out too.
And
changed
Devils are.
They changed his look progressively, but I really liked his look in 1,000 Corpses.
Corpses, the-
He was way weirder.
Now the
and
white,
creepier look.
the paint thing, and the black upside down.
Well, I
cross,
like
or-
that, but it was mostly just how weird his face was. It seemed like it wasn't quite shaped right. Like it was
Okay.
almost skeletal.
Are you talking about like in House Without or
In A House of 1,000 Corpses, his face is way more skinny.
One thing I remember on
I
that
think
is
his
he
eyes
had
are
more
weird,
like
too.
sideburns on the side for some reason in that movie, and you really notice it whenever he kills the deputy, Walter Goggins, outside. And you just see the wind blowing. I just remember seeing his hair fly.
And way less tits in the first one too. Like I feel like there's more tits for titillation purposes progressively.
See, I'll disagree with that. I don't think it's for titillation purposes because it's really disturbing scenes. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be watching it going, all right, some titties. Like no, she's about to be assaulted. So it's like I'll disagree on that one only because I feel like there's unless if you're just really into that kind of stuff.
I'm really,
Thanks for outing
really
yourself.
into it. That's what I like.
Your thoughts on Devil's Rejects?
I wasn't really a fan of Devil's Rejects. I didn't watch all of it like to the very end. But I did like House of 1,000 Corpses. But after that, I hate all the films.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's
she's
fine.
honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Your number one.
My number one. Trick or Treat.
Ooh.
Well,
I
you know, I love Halloween, and I love like Halloween, like the themed films, and yeah, I just love it. I think this was, besides Halloween, the first Halloween, Halloween 3, okay, so like Halloween, like Halloween 3, and Trick or Treat. I mean, just very good. It just has like a Halloween feel to it, got that fall feel to it, trick or treating.
Yeah.
All the Halloween stuff.
Halloween
is in this
season
movie.
is definitely encapsulated.
Yeah, it's definitely in this movie, and the characters are not at all really likable. You're kind of rooting for Sam in this one, Sam is just such a cute little
He's so
character.
cute.
He's just this. He just seems like that kid that comes to your door like on Halloween and is just standing there with his mask, and you're just like, oh, there you go, and then just like.
Make sure you get candy. That's it.
So yeah, he's just
All the
that,
rolls. and you're
just that
fine.
little cute guy there, and then he takes off his mask, and you're like, ah! You know, Jesus, what the hell is that? You know,
I still think he's adorable with the pumpkin. I'll be honest with you, that's just me, but.
But yeah, and no, I just love it. I absolutely love this film.
Oh yeah.
It's one of my favorite anthology films. I'll probably never watch it again.
Really?
Yeah, I might. I really like it a lot,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
just not one that's gonna probably make it to the top because I typically watch things that are a little more philosophical or kind of
Yeah.
have something to say, and there's not much to be said there, so it's more of a popcorn type movie for me. Like on Halloween, I might put it in.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's definitely a
I feel
time
you.
of the year movie rather than I'm gonna watch this any other time.
Gotcha.
Well, that's probably true. Like I probably wouldn't watch this in December.
Mhm.
But definitely like the Halloween, it definitely has that.
I'm a horror guy.
Definitely, yeah. It definitely has that feel.
Yeah, I agree. Like I watch it every Halloween. It's one of my favorites. It puts me in the mood. I don't know what kind of mood it is, but it gets me in the mood. And I love the anthology.
Yeah. I think, as far as anthology horror goes, I think the biggest issue I always have with them is it's always uneven. And you always have different directors, different writers, so it's just like, it's hard to find a good tone. Whereas with this one, it's all the same guy. And I feel like kind of like Creepshow, George Romero did all those. So it's just like, there is an even tone in both films. I feel like that's the perfect thing here. I love that this anthology bleeds into each other. Like you'll see one story and you'll see a side character in the background. You're like, what the hell is that about? That's weird.
You'll
And then
find
later on, it's like, oh shit, okay, that's what that was about. And I love how they cross into each other.
There was a scene in like your Krampus. I don't think it made it to the actual film, but there's a scene where they like you bring out this like your box of candy and they open it up and you see like your Sam's like sucker.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
And I'm like,
I think
oh my god, they're in the
Krampus
same universe.
What?
They're in the
When's
same.
Krampus 2 coming out?
When's Trick or Treat 2 coming out? That's what I want to
That's-
know. 'Cause that's what I'll get to next was, I love that Sam became this iconic, and I will use the phrase iconic, horror character, and yet he's only done one movie, and they doesn't get anything else. And I'm like, I just feel like, granted, yes, this didn't make much of the
He's
box
like the
office,
Halloween,
it
like
was
you
kind of a
know,
sleeper,
He deserves more.
but yeah, I feel like, how is this not getting a sequel?
Well, see,
like,
that's what I'm
it can't be
saying.
much to make.
And
I
trust
mean,
me,
these are
there
pretty
is no
low-budget
other
films.
There's no other like like your character like in like horror films that has just made one movie that's got the kind of
Yeah.
props that Sam gets.
I mean, I guess you could, closest thing would be like maybe Pennywise, but even he got a second film, so it's like.
Well, that's
I
kind
would
of.
attribute that more to the book than anything. The
Yeah,
overall
like,
real
yeah,
thing.
he had more going to just the
He's
movies,
like
yeah.
not just for that's one.
Yeah.
See, but like I
So-
said, I think that Sam. I think a lot of people see Sam the way I do. He's just this. Yeah, he's scary, but he just looks like this little kid that would just come on your door like at Halloween.
He's an enforcer of the spirit of Halloween.
Exactly.
He's playing the
He's an
role.
anti-hero.
He's an anti-hero. He's on the same level
Yeah.
as Jigsaw, and he isn't out to be malicious. He ain't trying to hurt you. But you gotta play by the rules. If you don't play by the rules, I love saying. I feel like I'm shocked. I really am just shocked that there hasn't been like a Kickstarter or that they had the producer got together and be like, we should make a second
There's
one.
a script I know because
Yeah.
the script's finished.
So I don't know, but like I said, but yeah, I think it's just good all around. I think each of the individual shorts within the movie were all really good, top notch. Yeah, and like I said, I'll be the different one here. I'll always be the little asshole here. I can watch this anytime. I can pop this in after you guys leave. And
Well,
still
you know,
enjoy
I
it.
probably could
Like,
too. I mean, but the only thing is, I usually watch it like at Halloween. So if I watch it like one time a year, that makes it more special at least.
Fair enough.
I could enjoy it anytime. I'm just not
You're
going
not
to.
going to. Fair enough.
I'm not gonna put it in. There's no desire to be like, no, I need
Now we
because
got
there's
to
nothing
do
I
it.
don't really, like with a movie, you either remember everything or you don't, and
Yeah.
that's why I rewatched it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, I don't really remember these scenes, so I'll rewatch it again. But that,
And I
you
feel
can
like-
remember it all.
But that
Pretty
yeah,
first-
but that also
first
speaks to the
digest.
film though too, because it like sticks with you.
It does and it doesn't.
Very good.
There's
I
just
feel
not
like-
much to it.
One of my favorite scenes, or not maybe not a scene, but visually, is whenever you see the kids on the short bus, and it's like that hazy flashback, and they're all wearing their creepy little masks. Like, I don't know what that scene is. That scene is just really is.
It's and then they all come back,
Dude, that's not even creepy. Just them on that bus is so much scarier than them finally coming back to
And it's
revenge.
like these it's like these kids like their parents don't want them.
Yeah,
Like,
there's so much disturbance
And-
going on too. I mean,
like the bus doesn't turn like a certain way, that
Yeah.
kid's like wrong way.
Yeah.
So he like automatically knows like something's like not right here. So it kind of makes you feel sad.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? It kind of makes you just feel like, oh God.
that's why Sam gave him the power to come back.
Exactly.
Josh, we're gonna finish it up here. What is your number one film from the 2000s?
I'm gonna give an honorable mention
Fair enough.
before I give my number one.
All right.
And the only reason I didn't do it is because it's a bit of a cheat. and I think he's already been on a list. Donnie Darko, honorable
I honestly
mention.
thought that would be your number one.
2001, great horror, great sci-fi, but I didn't want to just
I think more
cheat.
sci-fi than it's horror. I think.
I don't think you've gone in depth enough to realize how horrific it truly
Well,
is.
no, I'm saying,
Well,
it is horrific.
I'm gonna ring it in real quick, only because this is our episode 3, and we have mentioned Donnie Darko on every episode.
It's true.
On best horror and on genre blending, and now on this one.
I'm
so-
gonna mention it
Okay.
every week.
It's like
Honorable mention.
best slasher, he's gonna be like Donnie Darko. I know there's no slash in there, but there's a knife in the bunny eye, and you know what? That fucking.
That's
Sorry,
true.
go ahead. You're number one.
My number one is the Pokey Tapes.
Okay, yeah.
Oh.
That is one of the most unique takes on found footage
Yeah.
documentary. It's creepy and weird
That kind of.
in ways that I don't think people like to watch,
Mhm.
which is why I think it's less popular than most other horror movies. But it is one of those that just, you're trying to get through it because it's really, really uncomfortable.
That kind of threw me just now. Whenever you said, I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
nice, okay, interesting.
You see it?
I've never seen it.
Keeps it.
Never heard of it.
It's a movie
Really?
that.
Never heard of it.
Well, I don't falter on that one though, because honestly, it came under the radar. Because when it was going to
It
get
did.
released, for whatever reason, it
Yeah.
got pushed back, and then finally it got like a. It didn't even get like a full release. It got like a.
It's like a soft release, you know, like
Yeah, not even. Yeah,
super
it was,
soft.
I remember
release.
they did it on back when DirecTV was kind of a big thing.
Yeah.
They did like a release there, and then they did like a light limited release, and then it just went away.
It was a theatrical release too, wasn't it?
Very light. It was
Yeah.
like we're talking like Unspeakable Acts release almost, like literally like
No.
2 theaters if that. Like, no, it wasn't
Well,
much. It wasn't much.
Maybe like the bigger cities, maybe possibly.
Yeah, I was saying it's like select cities, but yeah, it wasn't much at all. And so it just kind of went away, and they buried it. And the two guys went on to do other movies, and it wasn't until they started getting better there that people were like, "Well, what's that first movie you guys did?" And then it got kind of more notice on it. I agree with Josh on this one. In fact, here's a little funny, not to suck my own dick here, but
Suck it.
I'm gonna suck the shit
It
out
was
of
a
it.
huge influence on Unspeakable
Well,
Acts.
no, and that's the thing.
Feels like it
was
should be.
I was afraid that people would see that because we already had Unspeakable Acts pretty much penciled out. We knew what we were going to do, and then I was just scrolling around, and I heard people talk about this Pokey Tapes, and like I said, it wasn't like it was getting a lot of buzz, but I was like, I want to check this out, and I watched it. I was like, oh fuck, that's Unspeakable Acts. Like it literally is Unspeakable Acts. I was like, god damn it. And I was like, should we keep going? Because I hate to do it. And people would be like, yeah, just ripped off Pokey Tapes. Luckily, Pokey Tape wasn't that big, but neither was Unspeakable Acts. So no one's really going to know it anyway. But no, it really was one of those things where maybe only I noticed it while we were doing it. And I even told Simon, I remember at one point Simon was just like, well, we got to stop. I'm like, no, we're not stopping. I was like, we had the idea, great minds think alike. It reminds me, though, that if you hear a story about Phantasm, when they did the Dwarves, and that movie came out around the same time that Star Wars came out, the Jawas, and they're just like, they're going to think we ripped off Star Wars. Like, clearly Star Wars is the bigger movie, and they're just like, just roll with it, and what happens, happens. And not a whole lot of people draw that comparison, but
It
it's
all
just,
depends on characterization.
yeah, and so I feel like, but when I watched it, I was like, holy shit, I mean, there's a lot of similarities, up to the point where the girl in that movie, how she goes insane, and she always becomes dependent on, this guy. I mean, it's really fucked up, and I was just like, god damn.
But that was probably late, wasn't it? Like, did it end up playing an influence halfway through, though?
No.
You never watched it?
No, well, we were already midway through filming, and the twist at the end that we did was already done before, because actually that wasn't even our idea. That was the girl who's initially going to play the character that October took over. So yeah, like I said, there was believe it or not, there was not a single ounce of inspiration from this film at all. It would just happen to be very similar. Because believe me, I ripped off a ton of shit from Unspeakable Acts, but it was like other stuff. Henry Portrait Serial Killer, Funny Games,
That's
shit
it,
like
yeah,
that.
that's
American
perfect,
Psycho,
yeah.
Scream. There's a lot of little things I threw in there to make that movie, but
Yeah.
believe it or not, and once again, but I always feel like people was gonna be like, nah, they're too similar.
I think you can tell by the focus, because Poughkeepsie was a lot less on the investigation and more just, we're going to give you a little bit so you can see what they're doing, and I feel like Unspeakable Acts, where we were more focused on talking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing too. That movie shows a lot more killing than ours did. So clearly different there.
Clearly they had more budget,
more money.
They did it really
better
well.
directors. I mean, the guy behind the camera.
A way better lead actor.
Yeah. So
all of the actors are just.
But get away from Unspeakable Acts, back to Poughkeepsie. It really is a very disturbing film, and I feel like it's one of those that when you do watch it, it's like shit. I mean, even though it's clearly fake, it feels like it could have been real, and that's what makes it, I think, even more frightening. So yeah, I love Poughkeepsie Days. It's one of those things. Honestly, it's funny you brought that up because I honestly forgot about that because I'm not saying it'd be my top 10, but it definitely deserves an honorable mention
The
for me.
only reason Donnie Darko got the honorable mention was because I thought of Poughkeepsie Tapes. midway through this.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I was like, no,
That's how Grindhouse was for me. I was like, oh shit, I got to throw it in there.
it's got to be put in.
Pokey Tapes.
I like it, and I kind of just surprised me whenever he said that.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't expect that. I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that would definitely be in my top 10 as well.
Okay.
Maybe top 5. I don't know. Well, top 10 definitely. So, I mean, but yeah. So, I mean, yeah, no, very good film. Very good.
Solid. Fucking
Solid film.
Well, guys, I think we kind of covered everything we can when it comes to the year 2000 and the decade that followed it. So, wrapping this up right now, guys. The biggest way you can support us right here at TPS Talk, and really the TPS Productions YouTube channel in general, is just spread the word, share, hit that share button down there, that like, subscribe, all that good stuff you do right here on YouTube. Hit that all up. If you discover us on podcast platforms, same thing, share it. And then, of course, you guys ever want to ask us any kind of questions, like I said, when we do the reach out to the horror community, we'll answer anything.
Yeah, if you want a whole segment strictly on Donnie Darko, we'll do it. We'll do it.
I want to watch that again.
So definitely drop your comments down below and reach out to our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and I'm not even trying to plug it. This was just to make sure the Slasher app. We're on there as well. So guys, I want to thank everyone you guys for doing this again. So see you guys next month.
Alrighty.
We're out of here. Oh shit! Didn't always run. Sorry. Hi. Thank you for watching that video. Be sure to give us a thumbs up, share it, subscribe to our channel. All that good stuff you do right here on YouTube, go ahead and do it. Check out our other videos. Go to our playlist. We got episodes of TPS TV, Journey Through the Dark Side. We got a new show coming out, the horror movie review with Daniel Richardson. This guy. And of course, our short film, Entropy. You can find all that and more right here on YouTube. And then check out, yeah, look at that. All of our social media right there. And we don't just, copy and paste like the same post and put it on all. No, that's ridiculous. 3 different platforms, 3 different posts. I mean, the behind the scenes stuff you see on Twitter will not be the same stuff you see on Instagram. So there you go right there. So be sure to give us a follow and a like on all that right there. Keep up to date. Have you seen Unspeakable Acts yet? No? Come on. Pick you up the DVD right now. Links over there. Oh yeah. It's only $7. $3 shipping and handling. And of course, if you've already seen it and you haven't seen the public domain dungeon yet, boom, $5 DVD right there. So 5 S&P as well. Or sorry, 3 S&P as well. So there you go. Do that. And if you got the spare change, you want to hit us up, donate a little bit over here to TPS Productions. Our Patreon is right there. Oh yeah. So that's all we. Oh my God, sorry. I'm getting fired, ain't I? Guys, that's all we got. Thank you for watching.